I spent 15 days in a hospital bed after surgery, staring at an empty chair that was supposed to be filled by one of my 4 kids, and not a single one of them showed up. Not once. And I didn't fully understand why until I got home and opened my fridge. I'm 72, widowed, living just outside Chicago, and I always thought I did things right. I raised my kids, Daniel, Claire, Stephen, and Tyler, to be independent, responsible. Their father used to joke that I ran our household like a business, and honestly, I took pride in that. I kept records, budgets, rental income, everything. We weren't rich, but we were stable, secure. So when my doctor told me I needed hip surgery and weeks of recovery, I was terrified, but not because of the pain. I was scared of being alone. That's why I called them all over for Sunday dinner. I still remember the smell of roasted chicken filling the house, like when they were kids. I sat them down at the same table where I'd packed their school lunches for years, and told them everything. And immediately, they all stepped up. "Mom, don't even worry about it," Daniel said. "We'll rotate shifts." Claire squeezed my hand. "I'll stay with you the first few days. You won't even notice the hospital." Stephen chimed in, "I'll cover midweek." And Tyler, calling from Austin, said, "I'll fly in for the weekend. We got you." I remember tearing up right there at the table. I actually felt safe. But what happened next shocked me. The surgery went fine. I woke up groggy, in pain, but hopeful. I kept glancing at the door, expecting one of them to walk in any minute. No one came. Day 1, I told myself they were just busy getting things arranged. Day 2, still nothing. I finally called Claire. It rang until voicemail. I sent her a message, something simple. "Sweetheart, I need help sitting up." 2 hours later, she replied, "Sorry, Mom, crazy day. I'll ask Stephen to check in." He never did. By day 5, I stopped expecting anyone. The only sounds I had were machines beeping and nurses walking past. I learned the schedule of the hospital by smell soup at noon, tea at night. That was my routine. I even texted Tyler at one point, just asked why he hadn't come. He replied, "Flights are expensive right now, Mom, but I'm sending love." Love. That's when something inside me started to shift. On day 7, one of the nurses, Hannah, caught me trying to brush my hair. My hands were shaking so badly I couldn't even hold the brush properly. She gently took it from me and said, "Let me help." Then she asked me something that hit harder than the surgery itself. "Do you have family?" I froze. "Of course," I said quietly. "4 children." She didn't say anything after that, just gave me this look, like she already knew the truth. Before I continue, if you enjoy real-life karma stories like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I always love seeing how far these stories travel. Anyway, Hannah became the only person who showed up for me. She held my hand when I first tried to stand. She brought me a small slice of cake the day I managed to walk a few steps. From my kids? Just short texts. "You okay, Mom? Get well soon." That was it. 15 days later, the doctor walked in smiling and said I was cleared to go home. "Call your family," he said. I tried. Daniel voicemail. Claire voicemail. Stephen unreachable. Tyler, no answer. I sat there staring at my phone, realizing something I didn't want to admit. No one was coming. So, I called an Uber. A young driver pulled up, probably in his 20s, and rushed to help me into the car. He looked at my walker, then at me, and asked gently, "Do you live alone?" I paused for a second before answering. "I have 4 children." Even saying it out loud felt wrong. When we reached my house, he carried my bag to the door and asked if I'd be okay. I smiled and said yes. But the second I stepped inside, I knew that wasn't true. The house smelled stale, empty. I made my way to the kitchen, opened the fridge, and just stood there. Half a bottle of water, a dried out lemon, an old jar of butter. That's when it hit me. It wasn't just that they hadn't visited me. They hadn't even thought about how I'd survive when I got home. I sat down at the table, the same one where they'd promised to take care of me, and for the first time in my life, I didn't cry. I felt something else, anger, because suddenly, everything started making sense. They didn't forget about me. They just didn't need me anymore. Or at least, that's what they thought. I slowly got up, walked to my bedroom, and opened the drawer where I kept an old notebook, something their father and I had used for decades. Inside was every record I'd ever kept, every loan, every favor, every dollar. And what I saw in those pages changed everything. Because at that moment, I realized something they clearly hadn't. They might have abandoned me, but they were still completely dependent on me. And that's when I made a decision that would turn all of their lives upside down. I picked up my phone, scrolled to a number I hadn't used in years, and hit call. "Hello," I said calmly. "This is Margaret Hayes. I need to review my assets, and I want to make some changes." There was a pause on the other end. Then he said, "Of course, Mrs. Hayes. I'll come right away." I hung up, looked around the quiet house, and for the first time since the surgery, I wasn't afraid of being alone anymore. Because this time, I wasn't the one about to lose everything. They were. And the crazy part? They still had no idea. That night, I barely slept. Not because of the pain in my hip, but because my mind wouldn't stop racing. Every memory, every excuse they'd ever given me, every, "I'll pay you back next month, Mom," it all started lining up like pieces of a puzzle I should have solved years ago. By morning, I wasn't the same woman who had come home in that Uber. I moved slowly, sure. The walker scraped softly across the floor with every step. But mentally, I was sharper than I'd been in decades. I ordered groceries, made myself breakfast, and sat down with that notebook like I was preparing for a meeting. Because in a way, I was. "Daniel, $7,200 loan. Temporary," he'd said. "Claire, her son, living in my rental condo in Naples, 3 months behind on rent. Steven still on my premium health insurance plan at 46 years old. And Tyler, monthly transfers. No job, no direction, just figuring things out for the past 8 years. Altogether, they were draining nearly $10,000 from me every single month. 10,000. And somehow, I was the one they felt comfortable abandoning. That's when the doorbell rang. Mr. Carter, my late husband's lawyer, stepped inside, carrying a thick leather briefcase. He took one look at me and said, "You've changed." "I've woken up," I replied. I told him everything. The hospital, the silence, the empty chair, the Uber. He didn't interrupt once. Then when I finished, he opened his briefcase and said something I will never forget. "Your husband planned for this." I frowned. "What do you mean?" He pulled out a set of documents and slid them across the table. "Those old rental properties your children think are barely worth anything," he said. "They're sitting on land that was just rezoned last year." My heart started pounding. Rezoned? Into what? He met my eyes. "Commercial development." I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, but because the irony was almost too perfect. "All this time," I whispered, "they thought I was barely getting by. They had no idea," he said calmly, "that you're sitting on land worth several $1 million. Several $1 million. I leaned back in my chair, staring at those papers, and suddenly every little moment of disrespect made sense in a different way. They didn't value me because they thought there was nothing left to take. But now I had something far more powerful than money. I had leverage. "From this moment on," I said, looking at Mr. Carter, "everything goes through you." He nodded. "Understood. And I want to rewrite my will." That got his full attention. "Completely," I added. "Not based on blood, based on behavior." He smiled slightly. "Your husband would have approved." That same afternoon, I made my first move. I called Claire. Her voice was overly sweet, the kind people use when they feel guilty but don't want to admit it. "Mom, I was just about to call you. How are you feeling?" "I'm fine," I said calmly. "But your son's rent isn't." Silence. Then, "Mom, what?" 3 months overdue," I continued. "Payment by tomorrow, or I start eviction." She snapped immediately. "Are you serious right now? That's your grandson." "And I was your mother," I replied, lying in a hospital bed. She showed up within the hour, furious, panicked, carrying grocery bags like some last-minute apology. We sat at the table. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I just opened the notebook and read. Every missed payment, every excuse, every lie. By the time I finished, her anger had turned into something else. Fear. She wrote the check with shaking hands. "You're going to regret this," she said, standing up. "You'll end up completely alone." I looked her dead in the eye. I already was. She didn't have a response to that. That evening, I canceled Steven's insurance. Within hours, he called, panicking. "Mom, what did you do? I need that coverage." "Then get your own," I said. I did. Then came Tyler. When his monthly transfer didn't go through, he called, pretending to be concerned. "Hey Mom, just checking on you." "Your money's gone," I said flatly. And just like that, the concern disappeared. "Wait, what? Mom? I can't survive without that." "You're 36, I said. "Figure it out." He started crying. Actually crying. And for a second, I almost felt something. But then I remembered the hospital room. The empty chair. The silence. "Dinner," I said. "Sunday, 7 p.m. Be here." Then I hung up. One by one, they all cracked. And finally, Daniel called. He didn't yell. He didn't panic. He negotiated. "I'll pay you back," he said quickly. "All of it. Just stop this." I smiled. "Sunday," I said. "Bring your calculator." By the time Sunday arrived, the house smelled like roasted chicken again. Same meal, different meaning. They all showed up, tense, defensive, watching each other like something was about to explode. And honestly, it was. They started with fake apologies, then excuses. Then, when that didn't work, they switched strategies. Claire slid a brochure across the table, a luxury retirement home. "They'll take care of everything, Mom," she said softly. "You won't have to worry anymore." I stared at it for a long second. Then I looked up. "You mean," I said slowly, "you won't have to worry anymore." That's when the truth came out. They thought I was unstable, confused, too old to manage my own life, and they wanted control of everything. That's when the doorbell rang. Every head turned. I smiled. Perfect timing. Mr. Carter walked in, calm as ever, briefcase in hand, and just like that, the entire room changed. Because suddenly, this wasn't a family discussion. It was a reckoning. He laid out the documents. Land value, rezoning, millions, shock, greed, panic. Daniel sank back. "That's not possible." "Oh, it is," Claire whispered. "Mom, we didn't know." "I know. That's why you're here. You left me when I had nothing." Silence. No one gets anything unless they earn it. "I closed the notebook," Tyler begged. Stephen stammered. Claire cried. Daniel stayed silent. For the first time, they understood. I wasn't someone they could control. "You thought I was weak, finished, because I needed help. You were wrong." No one spoke. Nothing left to say. Family isn't who you raise, it's who shows up when you fall. Mine, they only showed up for the money.